When you're standing in a busy shop and you're faced with a part that needs to be straightened, a bend that's just a little too tight, or a bearing that won't fit without a little extra pressure, the decision to add a hydraulic press to your toolbox can feel like a gamble. You've probably seen a lot of flashy ads promising industrial strength and unmatched durability, but the real question is whether the machine will actually fit into the flow of your daily work without turning your space into a cluttered obstacle. In this review, I'm going to walk through what the HP35, a 35-ton press from Bailey, actually brings to the table, the kind of jobs it shines on, the moments where it might feel a bit heavy-handed, and how to decide if it's worth the money for your particular shop. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of shop that usually reaches for a 35-ton press. If you run an automotive repair bay, a small fabrication studio, or a maintenance facility that regularly handles chassis work, brake calipers, or metal stamping, the need for a consistent, controllable force is constant. A hydraulic press like this one replaces the guesswork of using a clamp or a makeshift lever system. The real value shows up when you're pressing a rusted wheel hub back onto an axle. Instead of spending 10 minutes hammering and praying the metal won't crack, you simply pump the lever, set the pressure, and let the hydraulic system do the heavy lifting. The result is a cleaner job, less fatigue, and a repeatable process that you can trust day after day. Now, the HP35A's biggest selling point is its heavy-duty frame construction. In practice, that means the base and the column are welded from thick steel sections that don't wobble when the ram is under load. I've seen a few shop owners set up similar presses on rolling carts and then complain about the whole thing vibrating like a truck on a gravel road. With this model, the frame sits solidly on a steel-reinforced base that can be bolted to the floor, and the ram stays aligned even when you're pushing close to the 35-ton limit. For a shop that moves equipment around or has a concrete floor with a slight unevenness, that stability translates into fewer alignment adjustments and less wear on the press itself. One practical strength that often gets overlooked is the way the hydraulic system delivers pressure. Some smaller presses rely on a pump that builds pressure in bursts, which can make the ram feel jerky and can cause the workpiece to shift mid-stroke. The HP35A uses a closed-loop hydraulic circuit that maintains a steady pressure once you've set the lever. In real-world terms, imagine you're bending a piece of 1-inch steel to create a custom bracket. The consistent pressure means the bend happens smoothly, reducing the risk of overbending or creating a stress concentration that could crack later. For anyone who needs precision forming, that steadiness is a tangible advantage. On the flip side, there are a couple of trade-offs that can bite you if your expectations don't line up. The first is size. The press's footprint is roughly the size of a large kitchen table, and the ram travels about 12 inches. If you work in a cramped garage where every square foot is already claimed by a workbench, a tire changer, and a parts rack, you'll need to carve out a dedicated zone for the press. It's not a piece of equipment you can easily tuck under a workbench when you're done. You'll likely need to keep it in a permanent spot. That can be a deal-breaker for hobbyists who only need occasional pressing power. Second, the manual lever operation is both a blessing and a curse. Because the press is manually pumped, you get direct control over how fast the ram moves, which is great for delicate jobs. However, if you're planning to press a large batch of parts, say, you have a dozen brake rotors that all need a little straightening, the manual lever can become a repetitive strain issue. You'll be pumping the lever over and over, and while the hydraulic system does most of the work, your arm still does the cycling. Some users in the industrial sector opt for an electric pump add-in to automate that process, but that's an extra expense and not something that comes with the base unit. Who should walk away with this press? If you're a professional mechanic who frequently works on heavy-duty components, a small metal fabrication shop that needs a reliable forming tool, or a maintenance crew that handles equipment like gearboxes and bearing housings, the HP35A hits the sweet spot between capacity and price. The 35-ton rating covers most automotive chassis work and many fabrication tasks without pushing you into the realm of multi-ton, industrial-grade presses that cost several times more. It also gives you the confidence that you won't have to guess whether the press can handle a particular job, the rating is more than enough for most shop floor scenarios. Who might want to skip it?